And with that being said, people, Deluded, I'm back again. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and in some cases, good night. We've got Shirley in the building. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm good. You know, you got on to me, but you don't invite me no more. Well, here you are.
Well, I don't know why you're exposing me for, but yeah.
I have to because people think I'm a
You
bad
know,
guy or I'm the
I
bad
made
guy.
a
I ain't a villain.
connection with the stream and I just felt like, you know what, I need to come back. So I'm glad you listened.
I'm a good listener. I'm a good listener. How you been since we
Do
last
you know
spoke?
what? Well, life terms, I've been good. Football terms, I've been okay. You know, not much has changed. Good afternoon, Frank. Not much has changed really. It's just same old, same old. But we've got lots to talk about today, so I'm excited.
We definitely do. And you know what? Don't you feel like you owe me an apology? Don't you feel like I'm deserved an apology?
For what?
For many things, the lies on my names on my name as we just spoke about. And did you not watch Arsenal versus Fulham? Yes, we'll get into
Yeah, I did
Saka.
watch
We'll
it.
talk about stuff.
I did,
Go
yeah.
on. Yeah. Did anyone do anything of any note? Anyone do play well? Anyone you was doubting? You was boying me
What?
about?
What? Like Martinelli? Are you talking about Martinelli?
I don't know. Like, do you think he had a good game? Like, I don't know. Is Martinelli the
Wait.
guy?
So why don't you just ask me what my thoughts are on the game and if I think Martinelli had a good
How
game?
do you
So
know we're not gonna
then,
get into that? You
yeah, but
mentioned Martinelli.
you're playing games, so I don't know.
I'm not playing games. I'm asking a question. But now that you mention it, you know, how do you think Martinelli did, as well as your thoughts on Arsenal versus Fulham?
Do you know what? I think overall
Say
Martinelli
sorry.
had a. I'm not going to say sorry, but I
What
think
happened? I didn't hear that.
overall Martinelli had a good game overall.
What was that?
Um, he had a good game overall. I'm not gonna lie, if I'm honest, at the start of the game, like in the first half, I was a bit frustrated with everybody, to be honest, because it was a bit slow, a bit lackluster. And in terms of Martinelli, like something that was kind of irritating me when I was watching him was he seems to do this quite a lot, yeah, where he we transition really quickly and
Sounds like a hater to me, but go on.
he is like leading that transition really quick and he finds himself in this position where he's one-on-one with the keeper, so he breaks free really quickly and then he's one-on-one with the keeper and then the last touch that he takes, like the ball just gets away from him, and we've seen Martinelli do this so many times. Like if that is if that's something that he kind of got rid of from his game and kind of sharpened up a bit in terms of when he's in those one-on-one situations with a keeper, he needs to kind of do a bit better. And then in the first half as well, he was like getting to the side of the box, whatever you call it, and then he was putting in crosses, but I just felt like the crosses were to no one. Not all of them were great, really. But as the game went on, he definitely grew into the game. And yeah, I mean, we're gonna get onto his assist, I'm sure. But
Yeah, no, speak on it,
overall,
speak on it. I was waiting for you to mention it. Speak on it, speak on it. I've never
when
seen
I tell
anyone in this
you,
team do that, and I don't think anyone in our squad has that sort of technical
when
ability that
I tell
Martinelli
you,
has. Truly a maverick.
but this is what I'm saying, like when he came back from injury and I can't remember what game it was that his first game back from injury was, but I noticed that the attack was a bit more lively already just having him in there. But I think the thing about Martinelli is that flair that he has. Like that assist was absolutely, in fact the goal itself was absolutely beautiful. That
Must.
goal was reminiscent of the Arsenal that I've enjoyed watching for the like last two seasons that we've been challenging. It's that fast transition, the fast counter attack. It's that one touch, and then you've got the flair that you can't really, it's an individual thing. You can't really find that or teach that somewhere. We kind of have all these components that make a beautiful goal, and we haven't really seen that football in a while from Arsenal. So that goal, Martinelli, I don't know if that was instinct or if he meant to do that, but
Everything is a bit of
props
everything. Brazilians.
props to him for just taking taking the chance to do it. I think it was absolutely beautiful. Obviously, Saka was in the right position at the right time. Easy for him. He didn't have to do too much, but again, he was in the right position, and that's the good thing about Saka. And then who do we have? I think it was Marino. Was it Marino that passed the ball over to
Yeah,
Martinelli
Marino.
he did really well
You're talking about for Saka's goal ultimately.
for Saka's goal. Yeah,
Yeah,
he did really
Marino played it to Saka to played it to Martinelli. Martinelli's flick obviously led to Saka heading it in.
yeah, absolutely beautiful football. I mean, we haven't seen that for. I mean, we see it in glimpses of games this season, but we haven't seen it really since the last 2 seasons. Us playing really fast, the one-touch football. So it was a highlight of the game, and obviously Martinelli had a really big part to play. So for that,
And the nutmeg.
I didn't see the nutmeg. What nutmeg?
No, of
was
course
that?
you didn't see his nutmeg when he sat that defender on his arse. But
I
well,
don't think I saw it, but
if Saka did that, you would have saw that. Boy.
who knows? Maybe. But look, I'm giving him his credit. Like props to him. He delivered.
Is it fair to say fans like yourself, because you've probably seen Martinelli on a regular basis, you come to underappreciate him? Like there's no coincidence. Saka's come back. Odegaard looked a bit better with Martinelli's obviously having a good season. Like, well, good game. Do you think his season could update? Do you think, the penny could drop now? Do you think we could see that Martinelli on a consistent basis? Looks confident.
Well, yeah, I think we can see that Martinelli on a consistent basis, but I think
He needs support from fans like yourself that just, pop him down.
I think he's got support. He's got support from fans though, and fans are very patient with Martinelli. Even as far as he's been performing in the last couple
But
of
some
seasons.
of you want him sold.
But I mean, I never said I wanted him sold.
You slagged him off last time we was live.
I'm happy to keep Martinelli, and I think a lot of fans they stand where I stand, where despite him not really delivering this season, he's still got some credit in the bank based on we just really like him, or we can see that he's got a lot of potential, and so that
you're only as good as your last game.
Well, then if we're going off the last game, then we'd want to keep him, wouldn't we? So I think
yeah, no, I'm just throwing it out there. I'm just throwing it out there.
I think you just like to derail the points that I'm making.
I'm not derailing anything. What have I said that's a lie? You said Martinelli had a good game, right? You said he looked electrifying of sorts. You said he's got credit in the bank. I just simply said he's a good player. We got to bear in mind he had a long hamstring injury and now he's back. Like, it's just nice. I just wish we lived in a world where apologies were as loud as the disrespect, but it's all right because as long as he's got faith in the manager, cream always rises to the top, man. Martinelli's doing what he needs to do. Like, not everybody has the footballing IQ to see what he brings to the table, I guess.
Yeah. You started because I mean you were saying this about Sterling before. So
what's Sterling got to do with the game? He didn't play. And he is and Sterling's cold. And what are we gonna get onto Sterling? He's won 4 Premier League titles.
Please, I don't want to get onto Sterling. Oh my god, please, no. We are not talking about Sterling today. Please.
Martinelli and Saka, Martinelli and Sterling, they're both cold. Listen, Hypod, they're both key players, man. Martinelli's a Brazilian international. People just need to give him his flowers. I hope the penny can drop for him, especially going into Everton, especially against Real Madrid, and especially moving forward. You mentioned it indirectly, yeah, but we need to spend a segment praising this individual, man. Bukayo Saka, 101 days later, the man came back with a bang. I don't know about you, but I was at the game, and I don't know what was louder, when his name was announced pre-game, when he was warming up on the sidelines, when he came off the bench, or when he inevitably scored. Barring the point I just said about him scoring and all the other stuff, it was almost like he is a cult hero figure. I don't think the Emirates will roar as much as that, but what did you make of Saka? Like, was you nervous for his return? Were you one of them that said, probably shouldn't be back until the end of the season and whatnot?
Yeah, I was a little bit nervous for his return because anytime Saka gets injured, I mean, this is the longest run that he's been out.
101 days.
Yeah, so but before he's had little injuries where he's out for 3 weeks or something like that. And I've always felt like Saka comes back sooner than I expected. Anytime he comes back from injury, I'm always like, oh, this guy's back already. But I think that's just a testament to him and his fitness and how he takes care of himself and the work that he does. But when I saw him warming up for the game, firstly, when I saw the lineup, I just checked to see if he was on the bench because I knew he wouldn't start. And he's on the bench and I'm thinking, okay, well, he's probably going to get a 20 minutes, 15 minutes towards the end of the game. But I really didn't want him to play any more than that, really. And then when I saw him warming up, at the point that I saw him warming up first, we weren't really doing anything in the game. So I was thinking, this isn't really good because he's going to have to come and fight, you know, for this 3 points.
Grab us the 3
I don't really
points.
which I don't really want him to feel like, I don't really want him to have to exert himself so much. But then again, if he's fit and, you know, you're fit, you're part of the team, anytime you step on the pitch, you need to be exerting yourself regardless. So it is what it is. But yeah, I was really happy. Like, obviously, every Arsenal fan loves Saka so much. I was so pleased to see him come
My
back.
son.
And when he got that goal, I didn't even celebrate at this point. I literally just stood there and just watched, and I just like was smiling because I just thought it's inevitable. Like, this guy is inevitable.
He is, but I don't know about not celebrating, Shirley. Like that's a bit mad.
In my heart, like, I was so happy, but it was to a point where I just couldn't even like make noise because I just felt overwhelmed, like, with happiness for him, for the team, and obviously for us fans. But yeah, he's inevitable. I'm glad he's back. I just worry now. Obviously, that game we had like one high point. Saka comes back, and we had a really low point where we lose Gabriel. So it's one thing after the other.
Well, hold your thoughts with Gabriel and Timber and whatnot, but I think you're back on the money, man. I think Saka is like he never left. I think it's just like what Frank's saying. Every football fan enjoys Bukayo Saka. One thing I like about Saka is whether it's God, whether it's the universe, whether it's evil spirits, every time a bit of adversity is put in this man's way, he just takes it on his stride and he always fights back. And again, this season, I think we'll look back as it would have been a case of could have, would have, should have, and all the in between. But one does wonder for Saka personally, away from Arsenal Football Club or us fans, how he would have looked this season if he kept going. Because, you know, I think he's got something like 23 GA in 24 games. He would have had a generational season. And, you know, you got Lewis Skelly as well. We've got the Halem boys. I actually think Wanyeri had a great game as well. And it's amazing. It was nice to see him obviously celebrate with the medical staff. It was nice to see his tweet and whatnot. I think Declan Rice said it perfectly there when he said the reception for itself speaks for itself. That's why he's one of the best wingers in the world, because he attacks the box and sniffs the goal. I think he was absolutely superb and he deserves his little cameo. And he's now assisted and scored 10 plus goals across all comps in each of his last 3 seasons. That makes him the first player to do so since Alexis Sanchez. He gets compared to everyone and then he shuts them up, man. But then, as you mentioned there, unfortunately, it's one case of 1 step forward and 2 steps back. Our season has had an injury crisis of sorts. We welcome back Bukayo Saka and we lose Timber, and probably the more serious one, Gabriel Magalhaes. As you can see on screen, it says here, Magalhaes is set to miss both legs of the Champions League quarter final against Real Madrid. The Brazilian has undergone scans to find the extent of the issue, which could see him out for weeks. And then the early signs are a major worry. That was tweeted by John Cross. What did you think of when you watched it in the game? What do you think? What came to mind when I just read that out for you?
Yeah, I mean, in terms of what you just read out, no surprises really. We saw it happen in the game, and he just didn't look good when he went down. I just kind of knew, like, as soon as he went down, it didn't look good. You could see on his face that he knows it's not good.
Nice veneers though. Pause.
It's wow. Okay. Well, yeah, that's a good shot of them, to be honest.
Smith Rowe's ones as well. When I met Smith Rowe, I was like, damn, you got some pearly whites in it. But yeah.
Can we get talking of Smith Rowe, we're gonna touch on that guy later. But anyway, yeah, I was gutted, and I think he's gutted. You know, we could see it when it happened. What else is there to say? Like, this is an injury crisis season. We know, and I was gonna say every player in the first 11, at least, plus others, has had their turn. Like, with being injured, everyone's had their turn. Even Ranieri's been injured. Like, they've all had.
Skelly as well.
Has Lewis Skelly been injured too? I don't know.
He's missed like 1 or 2 weeks. Obviously, there's some more serious than others, but yeah,
some are more serious than others. But everyone has had their little turn of taking some time out. I think the only one that hasn't is maybe Saliba. So I don't remember Saliba being out.
I'm sure even Saliba's missed something.
Maybe
he had a concussion or so. Or I feel like he had an injury.
Yeah,
probably suspension. Thing. I feel like he had something. Magalhaes has had. This is Magalhaes' second kind of knock. Is it fair to say it's a crisis though? This season, really.
I think this season it is a crisis. This season it's a crisis because, as we've just said, everybody has taken a turn on getting injured. Like, that entire 11, you look at them and they've all had a period where they've gotten injured. Whereas compare it to last season, the contrast, we didn't have that last season. Yeah, we had a few injuries, but it certainly wasn't that you look at every single player and they've all been out at one point during the season. No, so there's something, I don't know. there's something up. I think it might be down to the size of the squad as well. You know, we need
100%.
a bigger squad, but I think Arteta as well just needs to utilize the squad a bit better. We often field like the same 11 really a lot, but that's testament to, obviously he can't maybe trust other formations that he might be able to play, but that means that you need to go out and sign the right players, sign players that you can trust, so that we don't have this issue where we're running players down to the ground. Even Ranieri, like for example, and Lewis Skelly, like I know they're young, they're fit, they're active, they're ready to, like, you know, this is what they've dreamed about, you know, having this run of games. But I'm looking at it like, you know, these boys are young boys. Like, I know that we couldn't foresee the injuries happening, but look how many games they've been forced to play on the bounce. Like, they're loving it, I'm sure, and they're doing great. But, you know, we need to look at this, and it needs to be not red flags, but alarm bells. Like, we can't have a 17 and 18-year-old playing 10 games on the bounce. Like, I'm sorry, no. So I don't personally like that, but I think it's great for the two boys, obviously great for their development. They're getting the minutes in the bag, but I just don't think this is a favorable situation for us to be in.
So then, with us having Everton on Saturday away, and obviously Real Madrid, like with Saka not being fully fit, whether he starts or not, I think everyone can agree he's not fully fit. Obviously, Timber's played a lot of football coming back from an ACL. You made a great point about Mikel Arteta having to be a bit cute and clever with his squad, the lack of numbers. I personally think it's a mixture of things as to why we've got here, you know, letting players go and not necessarily upgrading and replacing them, not heeding the lessons that other clubs have had when they've had injury crisis, or like you said, last season, where fair enough, we had a clean run with injuries, but Timber was still out, Tomiyasu was out, and Partey was out, and we saw what one injury could do the year before, so 2022-23 with Saliba, and just years before that. And Mikel Arteta and these players know, I mean, the recruitment staff know, there's a lot of games. We want to compete in 4 trophies with a squad of 19, which isn't sustainable. Me and you would be here all day. If we went through the 19 squad and we were to see who's more durable versus who's injury prone, you know, that kind of tells the story. Of course, you could say it's been harsh and whatnot, but yeah, like even Timber, like coming back from an ACL, he's probably played a lot more minutes than the physio staff, Mikel Arteta, and him himself have probably wanted to. How much of a miss are they if they do miss Real Madrid, though?
Who, Gabriel and Timber?
Yeah.
Well, I think it's huge, because I couldn't even figure out what our back line would look like with Timber. So is Ben White fit right now?
I mean, Arteta said he's close, but they didn't want to take any risks. I don't know how far that goes. Obviously, he weren't in the squad on Tuesday. With a couple of days on Saturday, he might be. If he's not in the squad in any capacity for Everton, I very much doubt he's going to play against Real Madrid.
And Calafiori's still out, right?
Forget Calafiori. He's a myth. He's a myth. He's a myth. Him, Tomiyasu, myth.
Okay, so who've we got? Skelly, Saliba.
Kivior. If we just say defensive options, yeah. Kivior, Skelly, Saliba.
Who's the fourth one?
Tierney. Kind of up against it. Yeah, Partey might have to go right back, potentially.
And Kivior can't play. Kivior can play centre back, no?
Yeah, Kivior is a centre back. He can play centre back and left back. I mean, he's been shoehorned at left back. He's probably more comfortable centre half.
Yeah, so it might be a Partey right back situation. But when I heard Mikel Arteta talking about Kivior, he was saying Kivior can play on the right as well, so he should play right back. Let Lewis Skelly stay at.
You want to put Kivior right back?
Yeah, just put him as a right back.
Are you sure against Real Madrid? Are you sure about this, Shirley? Are you sure?
I mean, I'm not sure, but what other options do I have? Or where are you going to put? You're going to put Thomas Partey as a right back. You've seen that.
I mean, Kivior, at least Partey believes in himself. I mean, do you know what it is for me? Unfortunately, when you have a small squad, as you said, and we're kind of in the climate we're at, one change kind of derails everything. Like, obviously, I think everyone knows if you move Partey out of position, our midfield is disillusioned anyways. But for me, I would like us to go over back 3 and bring Tierney in there. For me, at this moment in time, if we're going into Real Madrid, Saliba, Kivior, I'm not, respectfully to Kivior, I ain't got confidence in Kivior, but Lewis, go on.
A back 3, and who's the 2 fullback or wing backs, whatever they're called?
And this is I mean, it's gonna have to be. It's gonna back 3. So what? Who would I put in my back 3? That's a good question, actually. It
will have to be Saliba, Tierney, and Kivior.
Yeah, and exactly.
Who's on either side? Lewis Skelly.
Partey's gonna have to do the right back thing. Partey's genuinely gonna have to play right back.
Oh, sorry, that's dead. That's
And then you're
dead.
gonna have to. What else have we got? If Ben White, do you know how fucked? Pardon my language. How fucked we are if Ben White is not there. I'd
Yeah,
rather put Partey there.
so mad. Oh, I don't
And then
know.
midfield, just scum it out, man. Just go with Mikel Merino, Rice,
It
and
looks
obviously
so
Odegaard.
ugly with Partey at right back. It just looks ugly. I hate it.
Don't you think
I
people exaggerate that?
I don't, because we've
He's
seen
played
it.
right
We've
back
seen him
before.
play. Yeah, no, we've seen it. We've seen him play right back enough times for us
Did well
to.
against Liverpool there.
Yeah, but that's a one-off game. Like, he's not consistent enough in that position. We need Partey in the midfield. We don't need to be playing games. Like, this is Real Madrid. Partey needs to be where he's in his best position in the midfield. I'd rather chance. If Arteta says that Kivior can play as a right back, then I want to see. Put him there.
Left foot on the right hand side with no confidence against Real Madrid. You don't think you're setting
Who
Kivior up
said
for
he's got
failure?
no confidence? I heard Arteta in the last press conference saying that, look, they're all rearing to go. They've got confidence. Kivior specifically, he was talking about, saying that he was really happy that he got to play. Obviously, he's upset for Gabriel, but he was more than ready when he was called upon. So, if I'm believing,
Can I ask you a question then?
Said, go
Can
on.
I ask you a question because you mentioned that?
Mm-hmm.
Using Mikel Arteta as an example, let's just say you and your friend had some sort of disagreement and you had to give a press conference and they asked you about your friend. Are you not going to tell the public, general public, regardless of what's going on in-house, how good of a friend they are, how amazing they are, etc., etc.?
Yeah, I would, but
So can't you see the correlation between Arteta's comments with Kivior? It's a bit of gamesmanship.
but when Kivior came on, so I would say that to answer your question, but then as a return question to you, when Kivior came on, did he play very badly, like from what you saw?
Honestly, being at the ground, I would say I don't think it was a Kivior thing per se, but I think when Gabriel Magalhaes came off, because I mean Fulham came. I actually think Fulham flattered us a bit. I thought it would be kind of what the Fulham games have been recently. They sat in a back five, low blocks, letting us have possession and kind of living on the counter attack. And it was you know what, it was, apart from the Saka stuff and the injuries, it was a low key affair. I think Kivior did well. If I'm honest with you, I think when Gabriel came off, I think Fulham had a bit more of a chance. I think Kivior's marking for their goal was quite poor. I'm not quite confident in Kivior as a left-sided centre-back next to Lewis Skelly. No disrespect to Kivior, and you know I love Lewis Skelly, but one reason beyond the obvious as to why I'm upset about Gabriel Magalhaes is he's the leader of that back five, including Raya, and we're going to miss that. And against Real Madrid, oof, scary. But you are right. At the end of the day, Mikel Arteta bought Kivior, so he's going to have to utilize him. And if you're Kivior, you might not get first-team football if people are fit. You definitely wouldn't be playing against Real Madrid. So you do have to stand up to be counted. But to answer your question, no, he weren't terrible. He weren't terrible. These are the games for Kivior. That's your guy. I rate Martinelli. You rate Kivior. We're different.
Whose guy is it? Listen,
that's your guy.
That's definitely not my guy. But what I'm saying
See,
is,
I trick question. He's my guy. He plays for Arsenal Football Club. See, this is the difference. I don't do agendas.
Okay, anyway, it's Mikel Arteta's guy, as he just said at the press conference. So if he's Mikel Arteta's guy, he's my guy in it. I don't have that choice. So if Mikel Arteta says he's confident, he's rearing to go, he's happy to be able to play, I'm gonna have to believe him until I see, him prove us otherwise. So
To answer your question about Arteta as well, like obviously I do think we're a bit harsh. Like, yeah, we need a bigger squad. Yeah, we've probably, God forbid, it's fucked to say this, but owed these injuries because a lot of these guys have played a lot of games. Yes, we needed to do more in the market and we needed a bigger squad. But I also feel at the same time, you have to, like, at the end of the day, this is the climate. You know as well as I do, for club and country, there's a lot of games to be played. The tournaments are getting more expanded. There has to be a correlation with us playing the same players, getting up to speed with tactics, and being the second best team, even though I'm not praising that, but being the second best team in the league. That being said, though, Mikel Arteta always talks about fine margins, and I do think there's been opportunities throughout the seasons where you could take maybe a player off for 10 minutes, 15 minutes, 20 minutes. And on the face of it, game by game, that's not that much, but it kind of all adds up and you've got less minutes in the legs. Like somebody said in the comments, we was 7-1 up against 7-1 up against PSV and Kivio's still not kind of playing. I think these are the kind of things Arteta's juice. Like, what do you think of like his management of the players?
Yeah, I think I would agree with the point that comment is making, because when you're 7-1 up and you're going to that second tie, you need to be rotating and you need to be looking at the players that really need the minutes. and giving them a chance. You're 7-1 up. You don't really have anything to lose unless you actually think that these other players are really, really bad. And if that's the case, then they shouldn't be here. So yes, I do think he needs to rotate a little bit better. Maybe for him, he needs to work on finding a good balance when he rotates, because sometimes when we have it in like cup games, I don't think he gets it quite right. We do see him rotate sometimes in cup games, but maybe he doesn't get it quite right. But yeah, it's back to the point I made earlier on about Arteta being very stubborn with his preferred 11, and ultimately that's been the case for years as well. It's not just this season. He's been stubborn for years with the 11 that he wants to put out, and now we're paying for it. So yeah, I think it's something that we can cascade him for, definitely.
Why for that? But is that threw me off? But being devil's advocate, shouldn't he be stubborn? He's a manager. Don't you have to be stubborn in your principles? Because if he wasn't stubborn, a lot of the things that he's being killed for now, like the defensive outlook, the team sitting back as a low block, the brand of football, whether we like it or not, we don't get to this point if he's not stubborn in his principles. So is that a bad thing necessarily?
No, it's not. I mean, being stubborn ultimately isn't good, is it? But obviously for the job that he's in,
I'm sure you're stubborn.
We're not talking about me though.
I'm just saying. I'm just sure if we ask your ex-boyfriend or something, he might say you're stubborn. But go on, I'm sure you wouldn't change.
Not talking about me though. So the thing is, see what I mean about you. Anyway, don't worry. I'm gonna chat.
What was a reflection of life? Before we look externally, we must look internally. If you point a finger like I'm pointing right now, there's 3 looking back at me. So we must use lived experiences, Shirley.
Listen, I think for the role that he's in, it's important to sort of make your mark and establish, like when he came in and he's talking about like non-negotiables and all that. Yeah, I think that's necessary. You want to come in and you want to set your standards. But at the same time, listen, you don't get anywhere by consistently being stubborn through life, especially when it's about your job that you're getting paid for. Like, you're being stubborn when there's money on the line. That's not.
So you're not stubborn in your job?
No, I'm not stubborn in my job.
You're not stubborn in any way, shape, or form? No?
Not when it comes to my money, no. I'm willing to be flexible. I'm willing to adapt. I'm willing to listen to feedback when it comes to.
You don't think Arteta has adapted in his last 3 years? We play very different this season than last season.
I think he's adapted, but you asked me, isn't it right for him to be stubborn? I don't think anyone should just go on about life remaining stubborn. You have to adapt. You have to grow.
But then he's shown he's not stubborn, to counteract your point. Then if he's changed things based on your own things and what he said,
maybe what he's changed, he's been forced to change. We don't know. How do we know that he's made changes because he just woke up and decided to change it? He might have been forced to make changes.
Was he forced to play Declan Rice as an 8? Was he forced to put Kai Havertz up front? Was he forced to play Partey at right back? Was he forced to get David Raya?
Well,
when we had Ramsdale?
Partey at right back, this is a perfect example. Who told him to do that? He told himself to do that, and he told himself it was a good idea. And how many times has he done it? But
how is it not a good idea?
We've watched him in right back, and we know it's not a good idea.
Has he ever been the worst player on the pitch when he's played right back? How do we know this? Like, it sounds cool, but when we actually break this down, and I say a lot of what you're saying. How do we know this?
No, it's not about breaking it down. We know it because we watch it. We know it because we watch it, and we've watched it countless times. So, like I said, when it comes to even the comments know what you're doing. Can you see?
I'm not doing anything. I didn't say anything. They just said, let you land. I apologize, Riley. I apologize. Let go on. I'm just, sometimes we've got to question our own logic. Everything is subjective. When you're understanding football to a higher level like myself, you get these kind of things, and then you got people like yourself.
Oh, yeah? Okay. Well, I'm on your platform, innit? So, I must be doing
it. Yeah. We want you here. We like you here, man. We like you here. I learn things, ish.
Okay. Okay. All right. Well, actually, I want to talk about some negatives as well about the game. So I don't know. You got the questions in it, but I was just hoping we can get to some things.
Go ahead. No. Go ahead. Go ahead. Go. You are the guest. Me casa, su casa. Go ahead.
I just want to talk about Odegaard for a second. Like,
okay.
I just want to talk about Odegaard for a second. Like, I want to talk about Arsenal versus Fulham, and I want to talk about Odegaard because, I really wasn't happy with his performance. Like, I was disappointed, and for a while, like, obviously we've been saying, we know he came back from injury, ages ago now.
Had a kid as well. We've got to remember this.
Yeah, he's got his personal life. Things have changed. We know that he's not really been on the best form recently. Cool. But what I'm seeing, there's no excuse for it. And I'm going to just break it down. Like, the thing about Odegaard that I do appreciate is obviously he finds like pockets of space very well, and he runs into those pockets of space, and he carries the ball very well. There's something about how he carries the ball that I like watching him. He
The
gets into
class
the
region.
right, but then when he takes the ball to like a certain place on the pitch, I don't know the like proper football terminology. I'm just saying what I'm seeing. When he gets there, what does he do? Like, his end product is really, really bad. First of all, his shooting is not good enough. Okay, he has no dynamism in his shooting. Like, he does the same. It's almost like he tries to score the same type of goal, that kind of the goal where the ball just rolls along the floor and it goes, and it's always going directly to the keeper. He's got no confidence in front of goal. Like, he can't shoot. He can't shoot, and that's not good enough. When you're in the attack and you're playing in that position, you need to be producing goals. Like, you need to be producing goals. There's no way we put Mikel Merino playing as a centre forward and he's producing more goals than you in that attack, that's been in that attack comfy for how many years. I don't like that. Another thing that I attribute to Odegaard, and I'm going to I think Partey had some moments in that game where he did some good things. He also had moments where I was looking at him, he was looking a bit funny in the light. And the reason why was because I really didn't like how we struggled to like intercept the ball. Like, we usually do this quite well, but in that last game, we were not intercepting the ball, and we weren't winning the ball back as quickly either. That was really irritating to watch, and I kept catching Odegaard and Partey like being in those two positions. That
Two players that have played for their country in the international break. We got to remember there's fatigue in their
okay,
legs,
yeah,
as we've been speaking about as well. He has had
maybe,
a child as well.
I think the level that they're at, I'm not going to make any excuses for them. I just think, why is it that's something that we're good at, intercepting the ball, winning the ball back, while in transition, we're not doing it properly now. Like, and I'm catching, my eyes are going to Odegaard and Partey. That's all I can say. So I wasn't impressed with that performance. And I
You don't feel
also
that's an agenda?
what's an
Because
agenda.
Odegaard looked good when Saka came on, and me and you both know football's about relationships and things of
Okay,
that ilk.
Odegaard looked good when Saka came on, but do you know what? That's not good enough. Like, you are meant to be
Struggling with the
you're meant
party
to be
criticism.
a creative player. Like, you're meant to be creative
He
regardless.
did
Why is it
create.
only
Check the
when Saka,
metrics.
he did what?
He did create. Look at his metrics. Go and look at
Look,
the passes in the final third. He
metrics
didn't get
for
an assist, no, but he did create.
what, in that game?
Yeah, you got to remember. For me, honestly, you could argue that this is it's easy to play well when the team's doing well and stuff. We've got to remember there's injuries. He's had a child. He is our captain. We've got a new sporting director that's probably looking at his wages. And yet, despite all of that, Odegaard still stands up to be counted in adversity. He never hides. He never runs. There's a reason he's the captain. Like, I think if you look with your eyes,
I know
you
what
can
you're
see what
doing.
he's doing.
Don't
He's a
worry.
facilitator.
I know what you're doing. Yeah, that's fine. He is a facilitator. He's just not facilitating as
But
well as he.
statistically, he is.
You know what I'm gonna say about this statistically stuff. You love it, but I don't. Like, I just don't. I'm not gonna look at stats and allow them to paint the picture for me. It's what I see. It's what I see on the pitch. Thank you, Catch 22. He hides.
No, oh, thank you, Cat.
Yeah, thank
Oh,
you, Catch. Because
oh, you're agreeing with me. Oh my God. No. They're just agreeing with you for no reason, because that
And
can't
who said
say what
that?
I
Wait,
was saying
go
about
back to
Odegaard.
the other comment. Someone said he doesn't press like he used to either. He doesn't. He's not as intense as he used to.
But the whole team isn't doing that though.
Well, we're talking about Odegaard. I'm saying that I've seen a drop in level, and it's for a few reasons. But for me,
I'm yet to hear a reason though.
I've given you a reason. The biggest thing that stood out to me is him in front of goal. It's him in front of goal. It's really horrible to watch.
He does need to improve at that.
He's got no ideas in front of goal, and I'm confused because I'm like, how are you an attacking player? And I'm wondering, like, do I need to see? Because I'm not one of these people that want to see Zinchenko in the 10 position in Odegaard's place, but I am wanting to see Nwaneri in the 10 because I want him and Saka on the pitch together. And you know, if
You
that's
think
if that,
you think
that
you think Wanyeri is ready to play in the 10 on a consistent basis?
I don't know about consistent basis. I want to see it though. I want to see because I bet you he will do more than Odegaard. I think he can create, and I think that I know that his shooting is to a good level. So let's try the boy there.
So what are you putting Wanyeri in the 10 against Real Madrid and dropping Odegaard?
No, I'm not doing that against Real Madrid. I'm not doing that against Real Madrid. I think that's just.
So then where you gonna see it?
There's plenty of games after Real Madrid that I can see it.
Such as?
There's plenty of games. I'm not going to read you the fixture.
I just want to know one.
Games. No, it doesn't matter which one.
Of course it matters because you're saying you want to see that. So I'm asking you, when are you going to see that?
The most suitable game with the lesser team, yeah, no offense, but with a team that we feel like we can afford to rotate a bit in the Premier League. I don't know if we've got any game that I'd point out like that remaining, but
I'll tell you what we could do. Go on. I got you.
See it next season. Why can't we see it in pre-season? I'm just
saying. Oh, so you want to see it in pre-season? So then it's irrelevant then for the opinions now.
Regardless.
So when do you want to see it? You want to see it at Everton away?
How about I want to see it at Ipswich Town? How about
so you want to see that on the 20th of April, which is after my birthday. So you want to wait 2 weeks
against Southampton. How about
so then Odegaard's going to have to play?
I even want to see it against Bournemouth. How about that? I want to see.
Okay, that's in May. So then what you're moaning about now is kind of irrelevant to the next few weeks. So then why are we speaking about
whether it's irrelevant? It's relevant to our season. It's something that Arteta can look at. He's seen Odegaard and how he's performing. If you don't want to do it this season, it's another idea for you next season. Either way, you need to find a way to get Ranieri and Saka on the pitch together. So
100%.
How you're going to do that? And I think that's a good way to do it.
Do you think we should? Then how do you feel about, on a serious note, how do you feel about Everton then? Because obviously we want to win the game. We want to build momentum. We don't want to lose. Everton away is a nasty ground. You know, they didn't deserve to lose yesterday, but David Moyes has turned their form around. If there was a chance, quote unquote, and I want to pick my words wisely about throwing games away or whatnot, not that we've got many players as we've been speaking about due to injuries to rotate, but do you make changes and potentially, quote unquote, rest players or try new things for Everton away? Because 3 days after that, you got the massive one. Pause.
When you ask, like, do you make changes? So you're saying, what should we rotate for this game because we got?
What would you do? What would be your starting 11? Obviously, we have to put asterisks next to Gabriel Magalhaes, Timber. I think Ben White's going to be there, but Ben White as well. Let's just kind of focus on the players we know 100% are going to be there.
Yeah, but unfortunately, I don't see Everton away as an easy game. Like, it should be an easy game.
No,
It should be though. It should be, but it's not. So I don't see it as an easy game, and I need that 3 points regardless. So I don't think it's a risk that we can take. I wouldn't really rotate heavily for Everton away. I just wouldn't, because as well, I want to keep the momentum for these players. We've got 3 points against Fulham. The players that are going to play against Madrid are really the players that I want to see against Everton, because I just, maybe for the momentum as well. And I think we need to field a really strong team because we need 3 points consistently. It's really those teams like, and obviously Everton, they are down there, but Everton away is just, it's never an easy game for Arsenal. Like, it's never been. Even when they come to the Emirates, they've shocked us a couple times. So I don't look at Everton lightly just in general. But I just think for momentum reasons, let's field a strong team. Let's keep that momentum, especially like players like Saka. He needs to be playing again, and because we know that he's gonna play against Real Madrid. So I don't think we should be rotating too heavily for Everton. I think after Real Madrid, there's some room to rotate for sure.
So what's your starting lineup?
My starting lineup is, I don't know about the defense. I think I would do.
Oh, Shirley, Shirley, but go on.
I would do Miles Lewis-Skelly at left back. I would do Tierney and what's his name, Saliba as a centre back pairing, because from what I know, Tierney can play centre back, can't he?
What, back four of Tierney, Lewis Skelly, Tierney,
But I
Saliba?
know he plays in a back. He plays in a back five as a centre back, like mainly Tierney. But I'm gonna put Tierney as a centre back, and then I'm gonna put Saliba next to him, and I'm gonna put what's that guy's name, Kivior, on the right, and then I'm gonna do Partey, Odegaard, and Rice, and then I'm gonna have Saka. I'm gonna have Martinelli, and I'm gonna have Marino. That's my lineup with Raya in goal.
Thank the Lord, you're not Arsenal manager. Fuck you know.
What's wrong with my lineup?
Fuck you know, fuck you know, mate. Like, back four with Kieran Tierney centre half, Everton away.
So I mean,
you don't want us to get 3 points, darling.
You just want to see Partey at right back. You just
why would I want to see that? Why would I? How do you know what I want to see? You didn't ask me. That's gaslighting.
And do you know what? I'm not even asking you, but feel free to say it anyway. Feel free to say what you're.
That's not nice. See, like, we just have a difference of opinion. You don't need to be horrible. You see, the comments are getting to your head, man. See, you lot are creating a monster. If you was asking me,
it's not about the comments. It's you, because you've constantly been picking this live. You've been trying to round me up.
I haven't tried to do anything. All I've done is ask you questions and deliberate and debate with a fellow Arsenal fan. I haven't done anything.
Okay, what's your starting 11?
Oh, thank you. I thought you'd never ask. Me personally, in my humble opinion, not as educated as yourself, I would go Raya in goal. I would probably drop Lewis Skelly only because he looked, being at the game against Fulham, he looks spent in the second half, and it wouldn't surprise me if he's getting a bit of minutes in the legs in that regards. But then Gabriel Magalhaes isn't going to be there, so I don't want too many changes. So do you know what? Tierney left back, Partey right back, Saliba and Kivior the centre halves, Raya in goal, midfield of Declan Rice, Odegaard. I said Partey right back, so Declan Rice, Partey. Sorry, Declan Rice, Odegaard, Marino. You're going in midfield for me. I can't lie to you. I know you're doing your thing up front. Pardon me?
Who are you putting in centre forward?
I'm getting there.
All right. Go on.
Bearing in mind, in the game, things can change. Marino can go up front. I'm starting with Trossard up there, Martinelli off the left, and Wanyeri off the right. If I'm gambling with Saka starting, it will be for Real Madrid.
Wait. First of all, I forgot about Trossard, but is this your lineup for Real Madrid? Of
course you forgot about Trossard.
Yeah, I definitely did forget about him.
Because you're letting anger control you this live stream. You see me, I'm approaching this with clarity.
God forbid, anger can never control me. Anyway,
that sounds a bit aggressive, didn't it?
Is this your lineup for Real Madrid or for Everton?
For Everton.
All right.
I mean, it's not as bad as you thought, is it?
No, it's not. But we'll see. Trossard. I think I've seen Trossard play centre forward, like in a false nine position before, and he didn't do too bad. But so I would be open to see it. You know, I don't think it's that bad. But for me,
I don't think it's that bad either.
I just don't like Partey in right back. I just hate the way Partey plays when he's playing right back.
Of course you don't, because you've got a more traditional way of seeing football than the likes of me and Arteta.
That's fine, but that's just my gripe. I don't like seeing the guy in right back. I really don't. But if I have
what is it that you don't like about him playing right back? Bearing in mind he basically inverts into midfield anyways in the game.
Yeah, but he's not like Partey's good like defensively. He's got some defensive qualities, obviously, but I just don't think that he's not that confident. He's not that confident at right back. If he comes up against a really, really quality striker, I don't think that he has like the movement in his locker to be able to play right back properly. I just don't think he does. And yeah, he inverts into midfield, but that's because he's comfortable in the midfield, so he just plays that position to then invert anyway.
Like, so then what's the problem then? If he's going to invert anyways, and you got Rice there, we could do this. They're going to sit back against us anyways. Marino would go up front at some point in that game for me as well, for what it's worth.
I'm sorry, I just don't like seeing Partey. I can't. I feel like I'm trying to explain, but
so you don't trust the manager?
I don't trust everything he decides. No.
You don't think he's got the majority of things right? Us having a distinctive brand of football. Yeah, people can mock us for not getting over the line, but back-to-back 8 teams sit back in low blocks against us. You don't feel the manager's earned a bit more of you and many Arsenal fans who share your wrong thoughts about not trusting him?
He's earned like respect. but he's not perfect, and I don't like it when there's Arsenal fans out there as well that, yeah, I get that you might be a fan of Arteta, but there's a lot of Arsenal fans out there that act like this guy is perfect, he can't do no wrong. He ain't perfect. He's done a lot
What
of
wrong's
wrong.
he done?
He's done a lot of wrong in front of our eyes, but because he's a rookie and he's a new manager for the first couple of years, he's new, blah, 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 we're in a mess. The next couple of years, it's like, we weren't expecting to be in this position. All the while, he's made a few mistakes, and he gets off because...
Such is like everyone in life.
Yeah, but I'm just saying, let's just be real about it. He ain't perfect in it. He's got a lot of improvement to make, but he has earned respect. I think if you respect him, I think that's fair enough because he's earned it. He, like you said, the style of play, also how he found the squad and some of the decisions he made to get rid of some players. I think they were timely decisions. So yeah, you can give him credit for that, but some of his stubbornness, some of his signings with Edu as well, he's made mistakes.
What mistakes? What mistake? What's the biggest mistakes for you? Let's have a civilized discussion.
The biggest mistakes.
Yeah,
I can't see that right now. I can't ask you what his biggest mistakes are.
For you, you must know as an Arsenal fan because you're saying he's made mistakes and got things wrong. What's been what's been two of the biggest?
I told you what he's made mistakes and got things wrong about. He's stubborn. He's got signings wrong.
Yeah, what examples of stubbornness? What signings have been gotten wrong?
Can I tell you what his biggest mistake was?
Yeah, go on. Let us know. That's all we want to know. We want to know. We need evidence.
One of his biggest mistakes was welcoming Raheem Sterling into this club in summer. Signing Raheem Sterling as depth in the attack is a big mistake, and it's not good enough.
Why?
You're telling me you go into that summer window knowing you need a striker. You don't get a striker, but instead you get Raheem Sterling on loan. Whose decision was that? Regardless,
many an Arsenal fan didn't want a striker because we had Kai Havertz, and Raheem Sterling was a proven winner. Arrived here with fire in his belly after being disillusioned at Chelsea. Many Arsenal fans said, "You know what, Arteta can work with him." Fair enough, signings don't go right, but he's proven winner.
The biggest mistake was thinking that you could take Raheem Sterling from the pits of Chelsea and revive his career here.
Four-time Premier League winner, by the way.
That's a big mistake. Yeah, good. And he didn't win them here, did he? So he should have stayed where he won them, because that's a big mistake right there. That would be nice. You asked for what as a mistake, and I've outlined one for you.
But how do we know Sterling's got one of the best minutes to goal ratios in our team? How can it be a bad sign?
It doesn't matter. The proof is in the pudding, okay? We've seen this guy play. First of all, him signing was the mistake already. But then you play him, which obviously you're going to do. But we've watched this guy play. Yeah, we've seen him put in absolutely horrific performances more times than once. So that's a mistake there. That's on Arteta. And I know it was Arteta. I know it was him, because he thinks that he's that guy all the time. That you think you can take a Sterling from where he was playing in Chelsea and bring him here to do his mess. Nobody asked for that. That's not what we wanted.
I asked for it, man. I to be the best, you gotta learn from the best, and nobody's done it like Raheem Sterling. And also on the topic of Raheem Sterling, you got to remember he started playing football at 16, 17. He's been capped by this country. He's dealt with a lot of racism. He's dealt with a lot of expectations. He's played for 3 massive clubs in Chelsea, Liverpool, and City. So there's a bit like how we got Odegaard and the stars of tomorrow. There's that tangible experience. And then you look at Raheem Sterling, there's plenty he can teach the likes of Saka and more so Wanyeri and Lewis Skelly. Stuff that if you read in the Athletic and things of that ilk, they say he's like a big brother to them. So I think you're being a bit harsh.
Like a big brother? Based on what?
He's seeing your prayer, helping you, giving you little tips about how to guide you in your career. He's one of them. He's a big character in the dressing room.
That's good. Maybe the club will give him a job soon. He needs a formal job at the club then, if that's what he's going to be doing, putting his arms around people and giving them advice. Because
isn't that what Wenger used to do?
Is that what they signed you for? Did they sign you to put your arms around people, or did they sign you to come and deliver? I'm sorry.
You got to remember, we've got a competitive squad. We've got a very competitive squad. It was always going to be difficult for Raheem Sterling to break into this side. You look at the many players that even give interviews about how intricate the system is and how difficult it is. Fair enough, we have finished second, but we're a big club and we've been reminded of that. There's competition for places. It's no easy task getting football ahead of Bukayo Saka or ahead of what Kai Havertz has shown in an Arsenal shirt, or even Martinelli, who's a Brazilian international. Do you feel being a bit harsh?
No, I don't. I don't think I'm being harsh at all. I think I'm being very fair.
You're being very, very, very horrible. I mean, we've touched on yeah. I wanted to ask you this as well. Yeah, how do you feel about the injury crisis, like the injuries on a whole at the team, man? Because, bro, like there's very few players like this. Is just their injury things.
What is this? What's this concoction that you
Shot
put?
did this. Can you see? Can you see it properly?
I can't really see properly, you know.
Obviously, this little ambulance mark or whatever it is the amount of injuries a player's had or how many weeks they've missed. Again, like very few players have been fully fit. Like, do you feel like how far do you think the unlucky rhetoric around our injuries goes? Like, is it unluck or is it a fact of we're being unlucky or is it incompetence?
Oh, I think it's a bit of both because I think it is definitely that we're unlucky. Like you've got to be unlucky to have Saka start or Saka come back.
And we started the season as well.
Wait, what?
On the injury front.
Oh, that's how we started the season.
Yeah, on the injury front. This is August, isn't it? These were the injuries in August. These were the injuries in September. Saka had a thigh injury, like you said earlier. Then obviously you go to October. Then you go to November. Then you go to December, in which is probably where our season really, really derailed beyond the obvious with what we saw with obviously the star boy Bukayo Saka. Bearing in mind as well, as you can see, Raheem Sterling had a knock as well. Should we just make sure Raheem Sterling, that was your first injury of the season? Was that the first one? Yeah, it was the first one.
I don't even know why he got injured. For doing what? Anyway.
Working hard in training. Then January, as I said, was peak. March and February was peak. And our current status, Magalhaes, Timber, White, Calafiori, Kai Havertz, Jesus, Tomiyasu. And I don't know what Sterling disciplinary points are, but yeah.
Okay, let me ask you a question. The question, I would say it is a little bit down to luck because when you have an instance when Saka comes back.
Man said it, gal, get the fuck out of here. Big up a gal, though, but go on.
When you have a game where Saka comes back and you lose Gabriel Magalhaes in the same game, for me, that's just unlucky. But we have to question, like I always say, what is going on in training? Why are we having such intense injuries? Like, why is every player in the team going down at least once with either a thigh or a hamstring, a knock or whatever it is, a knee? Is it that they're playing too many games? What does training look like? We just have to ask that question. That's all I would say.
Arteta said that we ain't been training too tough in this fixture schedule list. If that helps.
Maybe, I mean, then that could be a good and a bad thing because sometimes you train too intensely. Facts. It's bad. Sometimes you don't train enough. And it's bad too. You're not warm enough, or
it comes back to what you said. Our squad's just not big enough. And this, everyone could see this was going to happen at some point.
There's multiple kind of layers to the problem. We look at first, we can say, oh, Arteta, the decisions he makes is playing the same players too often. Then we can say, okay, but the training's too intense. Arteta's saying that they're not training enough. Ultimately, you just need more bodies. You need more guys and you need more guys that are of a standard, not. You've got 11, 12, 13, 14 great players. And after that, it just turns into a joke.
Do we have 14 great players?
I don't know. But, 11, 12, whatever it is that we have, yeah. My point is that you can't have like a small group of players in your squad that are of the level. And then once you get out of that small group, the level has dramatically dropped. Like, obviously, we know in the squad you've got second option players for a different position or whatever, but the level shouldn't really be dropping so drastically as it has in recent years. And especially when, you're Arsenal, you're challenging for league titles, the level of the squad has to be in a certain way. We saw Man City. How was Man City's squad looking like for the last 5 years?
And you saw what one injury could do with them, with Rodri getting injured. And then with us, you can go back to the year Saliba got injured.
Yeah, that's true. But Rodri's been injured before this season. I think there was another season where Rodri got injured, albeit it wasn't for the whole season. I think he was just out for like a few months. But regardless, City have had for the last 5 years, they have had a squad. They can field 2 first 11s. And everyone's always said that about City. Why have they been so successful in the last 5 years? We know that their decisions in the last couple of transfer windows weren't the best, maybe, although some of their players
they're trying to rectify it now. Look at the January period they had.
they're trying to rectify that now, and some of their players that they signed in January are starting to show some return. But at the same time, if you look at City in the last 5 years and you look at their squad depth, 2 and 2 equals 4. So you got to attribute it to the decisions that they made in who they have in their squad as to why they don't have so many injuries. It was one key player, Rodri and De Bruyne, that we know he's injury prone anyway. Other than that, they don't have injury crises because they'll just put a next man in and it's not going to drop the level. You won't even notice it. So I think we need that.
I think you're speaking facts, man. And I think one thing, I think it's like you said, crucially there, yeah, and that it's not just one single aspect, it's a mixture of things. I think we need quality. Obviously, we need quality additions. We need a striker, left wing, and centre mid. And clearly we need bodies, and that would tie into quantity. Now they obviously overlap. We need to find that fine balance. And you also said something about the drop-off, rightly or wrongly. I think for Arteta and the club, clearly we have messed up with the depth and the ramifications behind that. But I do think there's too much of a drop-off when certain players, if we were to rest certain players, like fair enough, Nwaneri's come on the scene, but it took us a while to get there. If we just exclude Nwaneri for a second, there's nobody that can give us even 50% of what Saka does typically on that right-hand side. I don't need to tell you what would happen if Gabriel, Magalhaes, Saliba, Ben White, Timber, and these kind of players are missing on a consistent basis. Even Martin Odegaard, you know, again, I personally think where Odegaard's concerned, you live and die by the high standards you've set. Everybody's getting onto him now. They cried for his return when he had his first kind of injury or his latest injury. So we need to improve. But then that kind of ties into this, really. Like, go on, because you got a question for you. Oliver wants to ask you a question. He's always here, but we get a little guest and nobody wants to ask me questions. They want your thoughts. But go on before I ask you this.
Yeah, I was looking at this. He's saying, do we switch to a 4-2-3-1 or do we need to get a proper old school 10? I want to know why we wouldn't use Odegaard. Why do you not think Odegaard would work if you brought Zubimendi in? But what I will say is that Zubimendi, I've accustomed myself a bit more to him, and I feel like when I complained about the whole intercepting and how we should be intercepting balls in transition, I think we need to bring him in for that purpose. I think he does better than Partey and Odegaard, the likes of Partey and Odegaard, in doing that. So I don't know whose place he will take. But Declan Rice doesn't really work as well in the 8 position than in the 6 anyway. So I would be happy to see Declan Rice in. I'll be happy to see him in the 6. Why not?
Do we have to give up on Rice in the 6 on a consistent basis? Because I think Odegaard could play in the 8 as well, and Rice could play the 6. But Arteta thinks Rice is an 8, isn't it?
If we get Zubimendi, then I think Rice can go back to a 6 where he's comfortable.
You think Rice, if we sign Zubimendi, you think Rice is going to play as the 6 and Zubimendi the 8?
Yeah, he can.
Why do you think that?
Because I just think that Rice is better as a 6. I don't think.
No, we know that, but that's not what I asked you. I said, why do you think Rice would play? Why do you think Zubimendi would go in the 6 and Rice? I'm sorry, in the 8, and Rice would go back in the 6?
So can Zubimendi not play in an 8?
You've seen nothing to suggest that Declan Rice is going back in that 6, though. You could argue that it could mimic the Jorginho partnership, to which you're right.
If Zubimendi comes, then he is going back in that 6 because that's what makes sense.
So you want to bet on this? You want to bet on this?
Yeah.
Do you want to bet me that Zubimendi plays 6 and Rice continues as an 8? Put your money where your mouth is.
Yeah, let's bet. £2.
Name the price.
£2.
What?
£2.
Put a couple of zeros on that.
£2.20.
All right, deal. We're shaking on this. Yeah, we're shaking on this. All right, cool. Because I bet you.
No problem.
All right, remember, because I can promise you that you are not going to see that. Rice is staying in that 8. I do think, though, I want to see Arteta evolve the system. I don't think it's a thing where you're going to see Arteta change too much week in, week out. But I would like to see Odegaard in the 8. I would like Rice in the 6. I would like a couple of different midfield options. I'm keen to see if, and again, a big if, because I feel for me, you and everybody that reads all the Arsenal news, we could be forgiven for assuming Zubimendi is going to sign for us. But assuming he signs, I want to see that partnership because I don't think we have a long-term partnership in midfield. We've obviously got a lot of speculation about several players defensively, but midfield and up front is peak. Go on.
Partnership between who? Sorry, between Rice and Zubimendi.
Rice ain't got that long-term partner. Since Rice has come to this football club, There's been a lot of guys next to him that have played next to him, but no one's been there on a consistent basis. Obviously, we all know Odegaard, Partey, and Rice probably our strongest midfield three. I still reckon Rice's best football for a prolonged period has come when he's played with Jorginho. There was a time, not too many options, not too many opportunities, sorry, but you did see Fabio Vieira and Smith Rowe there. You've seen a lot, like, even going back to Newcastle away in Bournemouth, you saw Rice, Partey, and Merino. I do think we need to sort out the middle of the park. I feel defense, there's speculation, but midfield, there's question marks.
I have a question for you, actually. This is unrelated, but I need to say it before I.
Oh, we like these questions. Go on.
So,
do I think I'm the most handsome YouTuber? Yes. What? That wasn't your question? Okay,
no,
okay.
It wasn't. Sorry.
Okay. My bad.
In fact, it's still related to Arsenal and Fulham.
Go on.
My question actually is about Smith Rowe. How do you think Smith Rowe did on his first return to the Emirates since leaving? Because I've got some thoughts. Just a couple, but you know.
What? For me to answer that, you got to be specific. What specifics do you want me to speak
just
about?
How do you think it, like, just general? Like, obviously, I don't really want to get into his game. He don't play for Arsenal no more, so I don't care about what he was doing. But I just think for him, in terms of the trip back to the Emirates, how do you think he found it?
I think naturally, you got to remember Smith Rowe has known Arsenal for the best part of his life. He's been here 6 or 7 years of age. He probably knows everyone down to the tea lady. So it was probably one of, a psychological battle more than anything. I think Smith Rowe displayed his unique qualities in line with Fulham's game plan. I think Ranieri gave him a difficult time.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. I felt like Smith Rowe in some bits he looked impressive. He looked lively in some parts of the game, but then there were some parts where I just feel like he didn't take opportunities that came to him. I don't know what it was. I don't know if it was stage fright. I don't know if this is going to sound ridiculous, and I'm not being deadly serious when I'm saying this. I am trolling a little bit, but I just felt like he didn't want to.
So you've been doing all hour for the last hour, but go on.
No, that would be you, because otherwise I'd be taking over from you then, wouldn't I?
I just, boy, you know what? I'm an innovator. You're a copier, innit? We set it. Wow. We lead it. Jamaica in the building, but go on. We set it.
Anyway, so I don't know. There was one particular instance here where someone tried to take a shot on our goal. The ball kind of comes back and Smith Rowe is like running onto it to like have another shot. I don't know. I wasn't too convinced in that moment because I was thinking, did he really, if he wanted to make that ball, he would have made that ball. I don't know. I just feel like he didn't want to score.
No, he wouldn't do that, man. Smith Rowe, he owes it to the Fulham fans. It was just unlucky.
He's a professional. He would obviously, maybe for most players, I'm sure he would want to score in his old.
When I saw him after the game, he did say it was emotional, to be fair.
Yeah, I could kind of see that, like while he was playing, to be honest. And Smith Rowe, he's always been that type of player, actually, where he wears his heart on his sleeve when he's playing football. You can kind of see it in his face and his body language. And I could see it in him playing. Obviously, I'm not being serious in terms of like, I don't think he wanted to run.
You're never being serious, so it's on brand. But
no, I am. But I just thought it was funny. I was thinking, could you have made that ball? I don't know. But
should we have sold him?
Nah, we shouldn't have. We shouldn't have sold him, actually. If it means not getting Raheem Sterling, we should have kept Emil Smith Rowe.
They're two different positions. What are you talking about? And we could have done with both of them. We needed depth.
Emil Smith Rowe, can he not play on the left wing?
Yeah, and Sterling can play across the front three. But we both know that Smith Rowe is a 10 or an 8 by trade.
Play across the front three because we don't need him to play across the front three, clearly. So
you don't need Sterling. So when Sterling scores at the Bernabeu, don't celebrate.
When have we ever need? I won't celebrate.
Don't celebrate. So you wouldn't celebrate an Arsenal footballer not scoring because you don't like them. Fake fan.
Look. You told me, you're the one that told me to celebrate. You're the one that told me to celebrate.
And you said I won't celebrate. I would have said I'm an Arsenal fan. I'll celebrate anyone scoring.
It doesn't mean we've won the game. Just because he scores, it don't mean that I've won. So I will celebrate. If he scores, that's good for him, innit? I'll be happy. I don't.
So you wouldn't celebrate just because you're not keen on a player.
But what I will tell you is that if we then go on to win, then I'll celebrate, and that will be inclusive of his goal. That's fine. That's absolutely fine. What do you want me to do?
I don't want you to do anything. I just heard you say, I just said don't celebrate. And I know if somebody said that to me, I said I'll celebrate because I'm an Arsenal fan. You said fine, I won't. That smells like an agenda to me.
No.
Maybe I'm wrong.
That's you telling me not to celebrate. And I said that's absolutely fine. I don't need to.
You said I won't celebrate. If this was in court,
because I want him out. And back to my point.
Back to your point.
We should have kept Emile Smith-Rowe to play on the left when we don't. When Martinelli's been out, we could have had Smith-Rowe come in, because when Martinelli's been out, we've had Sterling come in, and we've seen how ineffective that's been. So we should have kept Smith-Rowe to have that, because we've got cover on the right, which is Ranieri, and he's been playing there since. So that's a problem. We shouldn't have gotten rid of Smith-Rowe, even if this was just his last season. But it just goes to show the time and the opportunity would have come for him to start getting a run of games, because players.
You don't feel Smith-Rowe was fed up though? I don't feel, trolling aside, I don't feel you're wrong at all. Everybody knows I'm a big fan of Smith-Rowe. I would have kept him, and I echo a lot of your points. But I personally said in the summer, and I felt it was a thing where, like 2 years ago, Smith-Rowe was struggling to get fitness. Last season, he was last season he was relatively injury-free. He was on the bench. He weren't playing. I reckon he went to the gaffer and said, you know what, I want to make it at Arsenal. It's not happening. I'd like to leave. Arsenal obviously got a great offer. And then he kept it moving. Like, I think it was a thing where, in short, Smith-Rowe pushed the boat out to leave more than Arsenal wanted him. And we did get a good fee. So it's like, if the player wants to leave, can you really get at the club?
Wait, sorry, I didn't hear your question. You cut out there.
If Smith-Rowe wanted to leave, is it really can you really get at Arteta in the club if Smith-Rowe said, I want to cut?
Nah, you can't get at the club, obviously. It's his choice ultimately. If he's put in a request to leave, he's well within his rights to do that. He's been at the club since he was a child, like a very young teenager. So he doesn't owe us anything, he doesn't owe us anything. He can leave. But, if I had a choice, I would have kept him, is all I'm saying. And I think Arsenal still could have kept him. I think we could have kept him. We let him go though. So it's not that I'm going to blame the club for him wanting to go. But we know that Emile Smith-Rowe has a connection to Arsenal, a deep connection to Arsenal. And even when he just went to Fulham, I could see, I'm sure we could all see that he was like, not struggling, but that transition was a huge step and a huge change for him, and that he had to really get used to. And I'm sure he's settled in nicely now, but I think that we probably could have kept him, and it would have been easy for us to keep him because he's got a
connection to Arsenal. That's why he should have stayed for you.
They what?
Because he's got a connection to Arsenal. That's fundamentally why he should have stayed.
Because he's got a connection to Arsenal, we could have kept him. Like, it would have been.
What does that mean? Like, what does the connection mean?
If you let me explain.
I am trying to understand.
If he comes to Arteta and says, I want to leave, and Arteta comes back to him and says, oh no, you need to stay for this, and this reason. Here, we're going to guarantee you this. We're going to give you this. I think he would have stayed.
Is he a player to guarantee things to?
That's why his connection is relevant. Well,
not really relevant.
It depends if you think he's a talented player. Do you think he's a talented player?
Yeah. Does he get anywhere near our first team 11?
If he's a talented player, then...
If we have the summer we needed to last summer, do we care about Smith-Rowe?
No, but we did have the summer that we had last summer. We
brought in Raheem. And at no point, and we're only saying keep Smith-Rowe because we didn't get what was required. And you better thank your lucky stars, Raheem Sterling stayed at the sign for the club, because we would have one less player. You're doing too much agendas, and you're telling Arteta to be ruthless. But then, out of all of the reasons I'm hearing about keeping Smith-Rowe, because he's got a connection to Arsenal. Wow, you grew up here at 6 years of age. Eddie Nketiah wasn't afforded that.
Is that what you got from everything I said?
Yeah. I didn't hear nothing else other than that's all I really heard. That was the underlying metric, in that he's got a connection to Arsenal. Like, I'm struggling to see beyond that why we should have kept him. We got a good fee for him. Fulham's record fee for a signing. He's not pulling up any trees over there. We got a younger model in Smith-Rowe. I mean, in Ranieri. Yeah, I think you've been a bit too emotional there.
Take you seriously. Sorry, I just I have. We're gonna have to agree to disagree.
The streets are asking, are you going on Arsenal's dating show?
No, I won't be.
Why not? We need some diversity for us viewers.
I heard of that. Is that like, I heard about that, but I even thought it was an April Fool's joke. Is that a dating show for footballers? Like, what is that? Is it a show
like yourself, man? You might find yourself a little Alfie that has a season ticket holder. Is a season ticket holder. You should go on it, man.
When you go, I'll go, innit?
I'm not confident enough to go on them things, man. I'm a shy lad, very shy.
I'm so shy, so I can't.
So they signed me up for that. They're going crazy.
Oh, wait, what was that last comment? Can you just put that last?
DG signed up for it. I can confirm I ain't signed up for shit. You're going mad. Me go on that. You're going mad.
I believe her. I believe her.
You can believe her because you two have just been bred
her.
in. Last stream, you lot bred in like, wow, yes, two women in the chat. Let's kiss each other's asses, like rather than disagree. You lot are together for no reason,
Well,
like.
she didn't get it from it. She didn't get it from nowhere, did she? She didn't make it up out of thin air, did she? She's
Oh,
obviously
because you can't just type a lie on YouTube. You can't just type bullshit. These are the people that dare criticize Arteta that can't critically think. See that example there, people? Got love for Shirley, but you know, ignorance is bliss.
I'm just
It's not the
saying.
sharpest tool in the box, but you
Seems
know.
pretty convincing to me.
My last thing before I let you get out of it, yeah. Obviously, Arsenal. I saw Arsenal said it's time to select your player of the month for March. You've got Declan Rice, Mikel Merino, Jurriën Timber, and Ethan Nwaneri. Who you going with?
Oh, I am going to give it to. Do you know what? It's hard. I think it would be between. There's a shout for. Obviously, there's a shout for all four of them. That's why they're the options. But I want to give it to. I want to give it to Ranieri, even though I would have said Declan Rice, and Timber's been absolutely great as well, to be honest. And obviously Merino, because he's doing what he's doing. But I'm just going to say Ranieri because he's a young boy and he's consistent. He's been consistent. He's still consistent. You know, Saka's coming back. He's unfazed. He's charged up. I think he deserves the player of the month.
I'll give it Timber, you know. I agree with what you're saying with Nwaneri, but for me, it'd be Timber. I think Rice has found his feet. It really should be Mikel Merino, if I'm honest, but I feel that's too much. He's been good, but I think that's too much of relying on the fact that he's playing up front and he's doing a great job.
But yeah,
I'll give it Timber, man.
Yeah, I think that's very fair to give it to Timber as well. Timber's been very, very, very monumental recently, and so is Declan Rice. Like, for who? Big word for who? For who?
Now, I've never heard you use terminology like that, like monumental. Look
Why
at you.
Are you lying? You're lying.
I've never heard that, man.
Same
That's
thing
crazy.
you did after you started telling lies, and it's always towards the end of the stream. I don't know what it is with you, but once we get to the end, you just start saying anything, start lying and all sorts.
Has anyone here heard her say anything on the two streams she's been on my channel? Has anyone heard her say monumental? No one heard that. Like, genuinely, some people.
Does that mean that it's not in my vocabulary?
I don't know. I'm just we haven't seen it. We're seeing it now. We're open to that. You're showing you just like Nwaneri showing new gears to his game. You're showing gears to your game. We never heard you say that before. No, nothing at all like that. This is what I'm saying, man. She's getting comfortable. She's getting confident, learning new words and that. Great stuff, man. Probably passed GCSE English. Great stuff.
Probably.
It's amazing. I don't know. I don't know if you passed your GCSEs. I don't know. You South Londoners are scary.
Do you know what? There's a time and a place for this. You know,
what did you get in English?
Don't worry what I got in English. I got fantastic grades.
It's not screaming 5 A stars to these people.
Oh,
it's calm,
don't worry.
man.
It's definitely A star. It's definitely.
You didn't get A star. Right? Did you see how people always say you didn't get no A star, man? You didn't get A star.
Did you really think that I'm unintelligent? Really?
No, I think you're very intelligent. You're just too easy. It's just too easy to get these reactions.
I know, and I hate it. I really hate it.
You act like I haven't seen your written articles. Like, clearly you're somewhat intelligent.
We don't need to talk about all of that. Don't worry. There's a time.
There's not much to talk about. You're not that smart. Like, we can move on.
Right now, we're talking about football, and I think I'm intelligent equally when it comes to football as well. So,
and that's what, damn. All that matters is how you view yourself, you know, because some people probably think Raheem Sterling isn't a good footballer. As long as he thinks he is, that's all great. Before we get out of here, let's look at this super chat. Appreciate you, Cal's Corner. I've noticed that the fan base has PTSD from giving Havertz props. People are very reluctant to praise Merino too much. I understand, though. I disagree personally. I think Merino's getting his flowers. I think people have had a lot to say about Mikel Merino signing anyways, away from what's happening right now. I disagree, but where are you at with that?
Yeah, I think, I don't see people not praising Merino, but I think it just is what it is. Merino isn't, like, he's been good, but he hasn't been absolutely astonishing. Like I said before, anytime Merino scores a goal, it's like we caught life. We catch life with this guy. That's all it is. He's not like
good against Fulham, though.
Yeah, he was good against Fulham. He was good against Fulham, and he's been.
That's his best game in the shirt for me.
Generally, oh really? Okay.
What
Fair
other
enough.
game? Like, do you know what it is? He scored, and he was obviously. Did he score? I can't even remember now. But anyways, yeah, he did score. He scored, and he was involved in the goal. But kind of piggybacking off what you said, I think that was the first time. Like, it's like the goal and assist didn't matter to me because being at the game, you looked comfortable. You was involved across the whole 90 minutes. I can't always say that's been the case. So I think that's his best performance I've seen in an Arsenal shirt so far.
Yeah,
If
he
I'm honest.
deserves credit for how he's keeping up, especially under the circumstances. Like, he does deserve
Exactly.
credit. I see people giving him credit, though. I don't see what more credit needs to be given. He gets his credit.
Exactly. I'm with you with
We
that.
agree. Yeah.
Finally, broken clock's right twice a day, man.
Would
This
never
is
happen.
cool, man. It's cool. What did you say? I heard something shady.
Nah, me? Never.
That's what I thought, man. That's what I thought. It's calm though, man. Shirley, this has been amazing. Let people know they can find you, even though she's not having a Twitter account and then making a Twitter account. But
okay.
where can people access you?
I want to say, and by the way, if this goes left, I'm coming back to you. If I get hacked on Twitter, I'm coming back to you. It's going to be your fault. Basically, what happened was, right, the last time I came on the stream, I didn't have a Twitter because I said that I was done with the app. And then this guy that you see, this DG guy, he was saying, oh, make Twitter. Where's people going to find you? Blah, blah, blah. And true say, I don't really use my Instagram like that. Like, I just post and go. So I can't really, like, talk to people on Instagram. So long story short, I made a Twitter.
Yeah, but how am I to blame for any of this? What's going on?
Because DG told me to make the Twitter, so that's why I did it. Because he was like, "Oh, make sure you make the Twitter, blah blah blah." So I was like,
how are people gonna find you?
So I took heed. I made a quick Twitter. You can find me on what's it? Is it X? Oh yeah, X now. Irie 258. You can follow me there.
I'm still trying to find what I would be blamed for, but yeah, go and find her, show her some love.
I told you what you'd be blamed for. I said if it goes,
you know what? I'm just like Mikel Arteta, man. We're blamed, we're hated, we're adored, but we're never ignored, man. You need people like me in this world, or you're just in it. Let this be advice, people, and this is what we're gonna leave you with, yeah, people. And this is something very serious. In a world full of Shirleys, be a DG. You always just like